This exercise is to help manage your intuition and intuitive input when you are out and about. As empaths, we generally have our 6th and 7th chakra wide open, and we are taking in all kinds of energetic data, and our brains then interpret that data. And for many empaths, we're very psychic, and this may or may not be able to be interpreted, because if we don't trust that we're psychic or believe that we're psychic, this data just kind of hits us as noise and feels overwhelming. If we are able to interpret the data coming into us, then we've just got a lot of extraneous material running around in us that is distracting. It is also overwhelming and isn't needed for us to be in the world. One of the reasons we do walk around with these large, wide open chakras is at some point in our lives, it was for our own safety. We needed to know what was happening around us in order to know how to approach the situation. But as adults, we don't have to always have it on. So my favorite example for this is you are sitting in a restaurant and you are with a friend and you're trying to pay attention, but you're distracted because the waiter is upset and you just know that his girlfriend broke up with him, and the couple behind you is having an argument, and the couple across the way are on a first date, and you're just taking in all this information that leaves you unable to be present with the person who you're with. So one of my teachers taught me to bring in the size of our chakras. And I was pretty resistant to this when she first told me, because, as I mentioned before, I used this as a kid for safety purposes. So I didn't really want to do it. And I had a moment and an experience that made me a believer and let me begin to try this exercise. And essentially what happened was I was driving through Portland and came across an ambulance and a gentleman being loaded into the ambulance. He had a bike helmet on. He was conscious, but his girlfriend was standing next to him holding her bike and his bike. And I just started sobbing and really panicky. So I immediately said, okay, I'm gonna try this thing. And I pulled the size of my 6th chakra way in to just about shoulder width. And immediately I stopped crying. I was able to, separate out of that situation and not take on her panic. And I was a believer after that. So the exercise is simple. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And just to play, I want you to imagine that you are opening your 6th chakra up as wide as you possibly can. Make it as big as the house or apartment you're in, or the building you're in, or even bigger than that. And then just feel and notice what you feel and notice what's happening. Now I want you to pull that same chakra way in. I want you to make it shoulder width, the size of your shoulders. Now notice how that feels. What changed, and how does your body register it? Some of you might feel a constriction or a pressure when you make it smaller. And when you make it bigger, it might feel more chaotic, a little bit more, woozy is the word I want to use. Just a lot of stuff moving around. Ideally, the only caution I have to doing this is don't close it down too small. And I would gauge that by whether or not you get a headache. often, almost always, when I close my chakra too small, I get a headache. So if that pressure builds and you feel a headache coming on, just open it up a little bit bigger. And it might take you a little time to get it to where shoulder width is comfortable, but just play with this process and see how it helps you when you're in conversations with people, when you are, going out to the supermarket, anywhere where you're going to be around a lot of people. It really can help take the intensity out of those situations, at least mitigate it and make it a little bit more tolerable for yourself. And I would say doing this with the 7th chakra as well is a good idea. And you can always keep your 1st and 2nd chakras open pretty wide. Those are going to be your safety chakras anyway. So if you're in a crowded place or you're in a place where it's appropriate to have less intuition coming in, but you want to have that measure of safety so that your body can be alert to possible danger, use the 2nd and 1st chakras. They're very useful for this, and they do not collect as much distraction energy. They're just simply monitoring the situation for something that appears dangerous. I just hope that this helps you. I would love to hear your feedback on it if you play with it and try it out. It's a really great exercise. Thank you. Have a lovely day.